Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody is doing fine and great. So today we are going to cover another topic of human resource management, that is performance management and appraisal. Now the time has come that the employee has joined the organization, that employee is working with the organization maybe for a couple of months or a year. So it's the time for the review. So how that person is performing, you're going to evaluate the immediate line manager, subordinate peers, your colleagues, or the 360. We'll cover one by one, but this is the time for appraisal. Okay, now comparing performance appraisal and performance management. Now, what are these? Basically, appraisal is how you are performing, and that's measurement to gauge your performance standards, that either you are meeting the criteria or not. So there are different ways to see कि आप किस तरह कर रहे हो, आपका जो performance है actual that it is meeting with the current needs or not. तो एक करंट आपका जो हमारा बनता है, जो हमने स्टार्टिंग में जेडी बनाई थी, केपीआई सेट किए थे. So now we are going to evaluate either you are on par or not. The second one is performance management. Now, what is supposed to be done, why we are doing all this is because we need to gauge your performance, that either you are performing well or not. So organizations want to make sure that how you are progressing towards, either you are progressing or either you are again not progressing or at a decline stage. So whatever is the status currently, so employer want to see that. So this is basically performance management. You need to manage the performance of any employee working in our organization, to see that ताकि हम उसको evaluate कर सकें that what progress that person is making. Now, this is the introduction to the appraisal performance, that why we appraise performance. Like करने का मकसद क्या, क्यों appraisal होना चाहिए. Number one, appraisal play an integral role. Like appraisal से हमें performance, जिसको हमने पहले कहा, we can easily gauge our performance, like how we are performing, either it's in the correct way or not. Either we need some improvements, so either we need some feedback. So whatever it is, that's will be coming through your appraisal. Then we can have, like, we can correct our deficiencies, we can have a reinforcement like through feedback. We can know कि यार अच्छा ठीक है, this is something I am lacking, or this is my weakness, or this is my deficiencies. So I can work on those things, and also it highlights things which you are good at, like what are my strengths. Okay, appraisals give you about your future planning as well. कि अगर आप definitely you're working well and you are on a specific position, so it can also lead towards your promotion, towards salary raise, to anything. So that's why organizations mostly conducted yearly basis. On yearly basis it has been conducted, but since a few organizations, just to give you an idea that how you are performing, they conduct on 6 months, or maybe sometimes organizations on 4 months basis as well. It depends on the organizations and how they need to gauge the performance of the employee. Okay, very important aspect of appraisal is continuous improvement, because we being the manager, HR manager, if we talk about, we need our organizations to improve, or to have I can say that आप अपने आप को या बेहतरी, कहते हैं ना, बेहतरी की तरफ लेके जा सको. So basically it's also the management philosophy, ताकि हम high end की तरफ, quality, cost, delivery and availability of goals can be met and they can be done. जब तक हमारे employees, they are not working well, or they are not that much producing quality results, cost would be effective, delivery will be on time, and whatever is like. So it's less that the concept of continuous improvement. Whatever you are doing, you need to give your best shot, best performance, so that you can rate that employee or that person, that candidate. If I say not the candidate, because employee अभी तो हमारा employee है, so we can gauge that. Now, these are some of the effective components of performance management. Number one, direction sharing. Definitely through your performance, one can gauge the direction, that either I'm going in the right way or the wrong way. जो मेरा इमीडिएट सुपरवाइजर है, लाइन मैनेजर है, जब वो मुझे रेट करता है या बताता है, मेरी फीडबैक देते हैं, रीइंफोर्समेंट होती है, सो आई कैन अश्योर दैट व्हाट पाथ आई एम गोइंग ऑन, एंड आइदर इट्स द राइट डायरेक्शन टू मूव फॉर द करियर प्लानिंग. Second one is role clarification. I would be having a more clear goal that why, what is the purpose of my specific role, and then I would be working on that. Goal alignment, definitely my goal will be aligned with the department and ultimately with the organization's goal, that what I am doing, how my position is contributing towards the organization goals. Then I need to have developmental goal setting, that what type of development I need for the goals and how I have to set for that. Then we have different development goals in this, like what type of goals I need to share. Then we have some, okay. Oh, then we have ongoing performance monitoring, that you can also monitor the performance of an employee care, how that person is performing, either that's in the right direction or not. क्या मेरी प्रोग्रेस हो रही है, किस तरह मैं प्रोग्रेस कर रहा हूँ. तो मे बी इफ आई हैव my employer is giving me feedback on a quarterly basis or maybe 6 months, so definitely, or maybe 4 months as well, depends on the organization needs, or a yearly basis, so I will be monitoring that either my progress is good or not. Then we have definitely, it's a continuous feedback. Ongoing feedback will be reinforcements is very important in terms of your performance, and that can gauge that either what exactly I am contributing towards my organization. Then coaching and support, this is also one of the main tasks of this process of appraisal or performance management, because your immediate supervisor or your line manager is the right person that can coach you, that can guide you, that can counsel you, that can support you, because that person is directly responsible for your performance or your task, that how you are achieving or either you're not achieving, or either you have some difficulty or whatever are the things. So that person is the right person to guide you. Then we have performance assessment. That's the appraisal, that what needs to be done, how we are going to gauge. Either that can be in different formats. That sometimes it's a narrative one. You have to write the details about that person. Sometimes it's about ranking, sometimes rating. So we'll discuss one by one that how appraisal can be done. Also through this, you can gauge different rewards, recognitions, and compensation, that how what need to be done, what rewards are to be given. Through this, you can decide the promotion as well. You can decide the pay salary as well. You can decide the other benefits as well. Then we have workflow and process control and return, that through this we can see that either our this whole change which we call our workflow regarding the employee, supervisor, and the organization is is in the right process. We are flowing. We are working on those vision, mission, goals, and plans which have been set by the organization, and then we are following the departmental and individual goals, and we are giving or returning towards the right direction of our organization, that what is our purpose, mission, vision, and the goal alignment strategy. So all these comes under the process and that control and return. So this is it for our effective, you can say that how we are gauging or how we are seeing the process of the management, performance management. Okay, then we need to define the goals and work efforts. Like definitely our goals needs to be aligned, that जिस तरह हमने पहले पे बात की थी, there needs to be specific, like smart goals होने चाहिए. So what in terms of guidelines for goals, you need to assign your goals. It should be measurable, it should be challenging, but doable. Encourage participation. So everything जिस तरह पहले हम बात करते हैं, जो प्लान जिस तरह हमने पहले प्रीवियस चैप्टर में प्लान सेटिंग की बात की थी, while we are planning what needs to be done. So in terms of your goals as well, you need to set those goals which are actually specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. That you want to see what are the clearly stated desired results, how much time does it require, either it's easy or it's difficult to achieve, what and what to be achieved exactly, हमें क्या चाहिए, इससे हमारा क्या आउटकम होना चाहिए, आउटपुट होनी चाहिए, एंड व्हाट्स द डेडलाइन, क्या हमारे पास कितना उसका टाइम पीरियड या ड्यूरेशन है हमारे पास. Then comes performance appraisal roles. Now there are different roles. जिस तरह हमने पहले बात की, supervisors जो आपके जो line managers हो सकते हैं, जो directly responsible होते हैं actual appraising के लिए, they must be familiar with whole procedures, because बहुत दफ़ा ये होता है कि they are not well aware, they don't understand कि what exactly they have to appraise about the employee. So they have to see all the aspects and they should avoid maybe any unfair practice or any biasness towards the employee. So all these things can affect the employee appraisal, or also you can maybe sometimes salary or designation as well. Then we have HR department. HR department as again being from the HR, our role is to serve as a policy makers and advisory role. We are there to help or support all the departments. We are there to advise them, to assess them that how this tool needs to be used, what are the forms and procedures that we need to use. We insist that everyone in the department needs to be appraised by their immediate supervisor. Also, sometimes being from the HR department, we need to train our supervisors to improve their this skill. Sometimes people are biased or people don't know how to do that or how to fill the forms or how to gauge the performance and what are the different methods, so we can train our supervisors. Lastly, we need to imply the criteria that equal employment opportunity laws are embedded and everyone in the organization is familiar with them and they are making that part of their appraisal as well. Okay, then we have steps in appraisal, this performance appraisal. Okay, now what are the steps of the appraisal? First of all, we need to define the job, like make sure that you and your subordinates agree to the duties and the job standards. Like while I was given my job description, I was well aware, I was well known about my job standards, job duties, my KPIs, so that I was well defined about the job. Secondly, you need to appraise the performance, that how that person is actually performing. There's maybe some type of rating forms honge, maybe you have some you can say benchmark hoga, so you need to tell that person that what type of performance we need to see. And this is basically from the standard you have set and the actual performance that employee has done, so you need to compare that. Lastly, you need to have a reinforcement, that is the feedback, so that the person will be knowing that how much progress has been made, either it's going in the right direction or not. And then you can see the performance as well. So this is basically all about steps in appraising the performance. Now another stage comes how you're supposed to design the appraisal tool. Now appraisal tool is again very important tool. What exactly needs to be measured in that? Number one is your work output, that how being an employee you are working. What is your quality of work and how much quantity of work you are performing. Either it's up to the mark or not, either whatever was defined to you in terms of your job description and KPIs, either you are performing well or you are not up to the mark. Second one are your personal competencies. कि मेरी personal competencies either those are being met or not. Lastly, objective achievement, जो मेरे साथ सारे objective मुझे दिए गए थे, goals जो मुझे दिए गए थे as to my designation, as am I able to achieve those or not. So this is about designing the appraisal tool. Now, what exactly needs to be measured through these appraisal? Now, these are different methods or scales that can be used to see or gauge our performance appraisal. Okay, number one, graphic rating scales. Now, this is basically a rating scale on which you can say you can see different list of traits and the range of performance for each, and you have identified through a score. Like for example, if I have to see quantity of work, I've written the name, department rated by जिसने जो भी उसका immediate supervisor था, किस date पे किया, क्वांटिटी ऑफ वर्क कैसा था, ओके आउटस्टैंडिंग, क्वालिटी कैसी थी, ओके दिस सेटिस्फैक्टरी, वर्क इनिशिएटिव लेता है या नहीं लेता, एफिशिएंसी कितनी है, ओवरऑल क्या परफॉर्मेंस है. सो अगेन दिस इज बेसिकली ग्राफिक रेटिंग स्केल. You can see this Excel, इसमें हमने comment box भी डाला है, we can also check mark through our comments as well. Then we have another method that is called as alternation ranking method. Now what is alternation ranking method? Basically in ranking, like जैसे हम rank करते हैं हमेशा best to worst या worst to best, you are going to identify all your employees on a particular trait, maybe for example creativity. So you are going to rank them from best to worst or highest to lowest on this particular scale. Let me show you. This is like alternation, high ranking. So you put the trait, for example, I said creativity, and you list on all your employees that how either they are having the highest rank or the lowest rank or the middle one. Then we have another method that is called, the third method is called paired comparison method. Now, in this method, by pairing two of your employee, you make or you rank them. Like for example, I say, let me show you the tutorial. Okay, for the quality of, for the trait quality of work. So I am comparing to just like Art versus Maria, Art versus Chuck, Art versus Dinah, Art versus Joes, then Mario versus Art. So this is basically from this, plus means better than, minus means worse than. So we are going to have a paired comparison method for the appraisal. This is the fourth method. Then we have another method that is called fourth distribution method. This is similar to a grading on a curve. Basically, some organizations, some employers, if I say what they used to do, like for example, I say 10%, I say 20% people are the best performers, high performers. Maybe 70 are you can say average, and the last 10% are below average, or like they are, this is something. So you distribute all your employees in that particular criteria, and you put the names in that: high performance, high average, average performance, and through this you gauge that either what type of appraisal they are showing. This method is being discouraged by the HR people or the evaluators, because that's something very much that makes the person morale volley down in terms of low performer. Okay, I am being low performer, but you are not giving any feedback or reinforcement that what exactly needs to be done, or why you are having this, or why I have categorized that employee on this. So that's again a very discouraging tool to use, or this method. Then we have narrative forms. Narrative forms is basically different. You have like, you can write about the whole person. Like for example, if I have to write about a person, I write the name, and then I write about all the qualities, maybe good qualities, bad qualities, positive and negatives, and then I write areas of improvement. So basically, it's a whole narrative form. Sometimes different questions are there, and I have to answer those questions one by one in detailed answers. So it's not any ranking or rating. Then we have another method that's being called as behaviorally anchored rating scale. This is the most reliable source of appraisal method. This has been used widely by all by different organizations. So basically, through different scales and narrative examples, you gauge the good and poor performances. Now, how we have to develop a bar? Bars are basically generate critical incidents. Like critical incidents are means like आपने जो काम करने, for example, I have to work on, talk about like, I'm going to roll down to an example, like customer service representative. Now how he has to work, we need to gauge a bar scale for this. So we need to develop some generate critical incidents, fine. ये किस तरह काम होगा, कस्टमर सर्विस स्किल्स हमें कौन कौन सी चाहिए, तो हमने सारी इसकी डिफरेंट स्किल्स लिख ली. Then we have developed performance dimension, जिस तरह हमने यहाँ पे लिखा है outstanding, satisfactory, unsatisfactory. We have given some levels as well. समटाइम्स रीएलोकेट इंसिडेंट्स करते हैं. अगर फॉर एग्जांपल हमने इसको किसी को दिखाया, अपने जो पीक सुपरवाइजर्स को, डिफरेंट सुपरवाइजर्स ने इसको जब बनाते हैं बार्ड को, तो आपस में अगर कोई इससे एग्री कर रहा है, कोई डिसएग्री कर रहा है, तो हम इसको रीएलोकेट भी कर सकते हैं. देन वी स्केल द इंसिडेंट्स के, अच्छा ये स्केल इस पे होगा तो ये इसका मतलब ये परफॉर्मेंस है. So if I say one is very low performing, like argued with customer about this suitability of the that requested product, so it is unsatisfactory performance. So this is how, and then you develop a final instrument. So through this you identify but the problem of this bars method is this is very time taking. On every you can say उसके आपको like you need for every skill or everything you need to have you need to make a separate bars. आपको हर skill के लिए, हर different चीज़ों के लिए आपको एक different bar skill बनाना पड़ेगा. For example, जैसे हमने कहा, अभी तो customer service skills हैं. अगर हमें कोई और skills को negotiation skills हैं, then हमारे पास कोई innovations है, creativity है, then problem solving है. So हमें एक एक चीज़ के लिए we need to create a different bar. This is good because this is having all the details. हमारे पास इसका justifications भी हैं, हमारे पास इसका narrative in terms of like exactly remarks भी हैं. But again, it's really time taking. But usually organizations use this method as well to identify and improve the performance of their employees. This is another method, that is critical incident method. Now, what is this incident method? You, being a supervisor, you see all the ins and outs, like positive and negative aspects of the employee that are work related. Then maybe after 6 months, when you have that interview or you have a session with that employee, you tell them, okay, this is, you discuss that performance, that these were the duties and these were the targets and how you are achieving that. Either you are on the pace, either you are not able to deliver, or what exactly you're lacking. But again, this method is being not that much being used. One of the reason is like this is not having any quantitative part, in terms of like you can't quantify. You can narrate, but you can't quantify. And basically, this is not suitable while you are deciding for increment in the salary. जिस तरह हमने पहले एग्जांपल दी थी बार्स की, दिस इज फॉर द डायमेंशन ऑफ सेल्समैन स्किल्स, कि अगर सेल्समैन 1 to 9 इज द हाईएस्ट एंड 1 इज द लोएस्ट, on what rate you need to see that how that person is making a difference in terms of salesman skills. Another very popular method is management by objective. Is basically your immediate boss and that employee sits together and review the progress. Like they see, okay, fine, what we need to do. So you decide, you see the organization's goals, then you set your departmental goals, then you discuss departmental goals, what exactly is being needed from you, that being you from that particular designation. अगर मैं HR डिपार्टमेंट से हूँ, मुझे HR के एग्जीक्यूटिव से क्या चीज़ चाहिए, तो आई वुड बी expecting that, or I will be defining that to that person, that this is the thing. And then actual performance review कि क्या उसने कैसा किया, कैसा perform किया, and lastly feedback will be given in that. So this is again a very time taking thing. आपको एक एक इंडू, अगर आपके पास 50 employees है, 100 employees है, तो being a manager you need to sit with everyone and then you need to decide the expected results. Sometimes because रिटर्न में आता तो है, but it's so much time taken, you cannot work along. So again, it takes a lot of your time. Now, these are some of the things that can have an effect or impact on the person. One thing is potential rating scale appraisal problems. Like whatever I'm going to do, it's not that much clear. I am unclear about the standards that I could not interpret or could not justify. So this is one problem of the appraisal if my standards are not clear. Then comes halo effect. Now, what is halo effect? That your supervisor may be on any of the one trait, that person do biasness with you, and the rating of that thing affects the rating of your other traits. For example, if a person comes late, so that one trait will affect the appraisal of all. Like, okay, this person comes late, तो अच्छा ये काम भी नहीं ऐसा करता होगा, ये भी नहीं करता होगा, ये भी ऐसा करता होगा. That becomes like a halo effect. Like एक चीज की वजह से, उसका एक characteristic या trait की वजह से, you are defining that person, or you are having the biasness of the rating of that person due to this halo effect. Then we have central tendency. Sometimes you see or have the tendency to rate all the employees such as एवरेज, लाइक सब एवरेज होंगे. मे बी अच्छा ये इस डिपार्टमेंट के तो ये सब ऐसे होंगे, ये इस डिपार्टमेंट के तो ऐसे होंगे. Sometimes like being the boss, you have different clusters of departments under you, and they are further divided as well. So you can have a central tendency, अच्छा ये इसके particular cluster के तो ये लोग तो बिल्कुल काम नहीं करते, अच्छा ये ऐसे तो ये ऐसे होंगे. So again you need to see that how if you are doing this biasness central tendency, so again you are rating everyone on average, that again it's not right. Another problem is strictness versus leniency. या तो आप बहुत उनकी रेटिंग में हाई हो, या तो बहुत lenient हो. तो again both these up and down or high or low is not good. You need to have a balance. You need to see that either you are doing the right or justice towards that employee or not. Biasness can be in terms of like in terms of age, race, sex, like either maybe your gender की basis पे भी हो सकती है, age की, ethnicity की. So again people have faced this problem and people have seen that they have this individual differences on these different factors as well. Now, what could be done to avoid these appraisal problems? Number one, जैसे हमने पहले बात की थी, सबसे पहले तो training is one of the important aspect. Like train your supervisor that they know how to evaluate, how to appraise the person, so they can learn and understand the potential problem and the solution for that. Use the right appraisal tool, like we have discussed 7 8 tools, so you should know that what are the pros and what are the cons of different tools and what needs to be done, किस सिचुएशन में किस टाइम पे कौन सा टूल यूज करना चाहिए. देन ट्रेनिंग योर सुपरवाइजर ताकि हेलो इफेक्ट दिस लीनियंसी और दिस स्टैंडर्ड रेडेंसी whatever those errors were there, that should be avoided. Have raters compile positive, negative, critical incidents as they occur. अगर आपके पास सारे क्रिटिकल इंसिडेंट्स आपके पास हैं, पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव एक्सपेक्ट दोनों हैं, बताएं उसको ताकि इम्प्रूवमेंट आ सके, री इन्फोर्स करें एंड फीडबैक दें ताकि दैट पर्सन इज बिकम्स मोटिवेटेड. ओके, देन वी हैव हु शुड डू द अप्रेजिंग. तो हमने पहले बात की थी, इट्स द एचआर डिपार्टमेंट और द इमीडिएट सुपरवाइजर, बट स्टिल one immediate supervisors, your peers. Somewhere your peers are also involved with you. They can also guide you, they can tell you. So being an anonymous, sometimes you take the feedback from your peers that how I'm performing, either it's good or not. They are in different organizations, they do have rating committees, like your immediate boss included by other supervisors जो बाकी heads हैं, and then they decide. इससे फायदा ये होता है कि जो बायसनेस तो खत्म हो जाती है अगर इमीडिएट सुपरवाइजर की. बाकी जब सुपरवाइजर्स आपको ग्रेड करते हैं या रेट करते हैं, सो डेफिनेटली एवरीबडी वुड बी डूइंग ऑन देयर ओन, तो उसमें थोड़ी बायसनेस, द चांसेस वुड बी मच लेस. Self ratings, definitely when you are asked to self rate yourself, so everybody will be giving a 10 on 10 or 100 on 100, but still you need to, some organizations have this system of self rating as well. Then your subordinates, the people who are working under you, they can also rank you, they can also rate you. This is also done anonymously so that you can have the idea that either you are a good boss or a good supervisor or not, or how as a person you are working. Then lastly, we have a 360-degree feedback, that all this, like from your peers to your subordinates to yourself, this is how the whole, this 360, like round the clock, you are going to have the feedback, so that you can have the idea that either my performance is good or it's bad, or where exactly I'm standing. Now, these are some of the advantages and disadvantages of all the appraisal tools that we have discussed: the graphic rating skills, bars, ordination ranking, force distribution, critical incidents, and management by objective. ग्राफिक रेटिंग स्केल जिस तरह हमने पहले कहा था कि इट्स सिंपल टू यूज़, एक हमारे पास बिहेवियर से उसको रेट कर देते हैं, बट समटाइम्स स्टैंडर्ड्स में भी अनक्लियर, हेलो इफेक्ट भी आ सकता है, स्टैंडर्ड टेंडेंसी भी डेफिनेटली आ सकती है, बायसनेस भी आ सकती है. बार्स में इट्स डिफिकल्ट टू डेवलप बिकॉज हमें ईच एंड एवरी स्किल का हमें भी हैव टू डेवलप डिफरेंटली. Alternation ranking, if I talk about the disadvantage, sometimes it can be unfair as well, क्योंकि आप alternation ranking में आप उनको compare कर रहे हो या आप उनको rank कर रहे हो in terms of like highest to lowest, so it can be sometimes, definitely you would be unfair in that thing as well. फोर्सफुली में इफ़ आई टॉक अबाउट, तो आपके जो कट ऑफ पॉइंट्स हैं वो बहुत मैटर करते हैं एम्प्लॉय की. आपको जो आपने अगर एवरेज रखा है या टॉप 20 हाई अचीवर्स रखें, सो अगेन यू नीड टू सी और यू हैव अ वेरी clear cut idea that why you are putting that person in that particular frame. Lastly, we have critical incident methods. We have difficult to rate or rank employees relative to one another. जिस तरह हमने पहले बात की थी कि एक दूसरे के साथ हम उनको रैंकिंग रेटिंग में, इट्स रियली difficult. Then MBO, again you need to sit with each and everyone and they have to decide that what needs to be done. Your immediate boss or supervisor needs to sit with each and every one. If they are, again, like if there are a lot of people, then it's difficult for the manager or the supervisor to sit with everyone and do that, so it would be time consuming. Lastly, now comes the stage that it's about the appraisal interview. While you have decided, you need to tell your employee as well, that person. So there are different types of appraisal interview. Number one is satisfactory and promotable. Definitely, that would be the most easier. That it was good and that person is eligible to be promoted as well. The second one, the performance was good. That was satisfactory, but it's not promotable. It's like it's good, but it needs to be gauged. So it needs to be continued. So the promotion can be like thought. It can be done at a later stage. Third one is unsatisfactory and but correctable. Like the performance is not that much good, but there is a room for improvement that can be corrected. The last one is unsatisfactory and uncorrectable. That the performance is not up to the mark and it cannot be corrected. So it's better that you dismiss or you leave the organization. Now, how to conduct the appraisal interview? Talking in terms of like you need to tell that person, don't get personal, encourage the person to talk. आप उसको बताओ, एक ही बात के इर्द मत घूमते रहो बस उसको ये ऐसे करते तुम ये ऐसा हो जाता. Like be very much concise and concrete, and you do have all the stats and you do have all the data when you are conducting this appraisal interview. Sometimes it's there that you have a very defensive subordinate like जो आपका जो employee है that becomes very defensive. So you need to see that this is normal because आप किसी को अगर कोई बुरा कहोगे बुरा वाला कहोगे या if you are taking out something maybe in the negative points, so some people become offensive on that. So you don't have to attack on that person. You just have to be calm, you have to relax, you have to see that what can be done, what needs to be done. You, because being an employer and supervisor, you have your own limitations. If that person is not working up to the mark, you have to like maybe let that person go, or you have to take some action. Maybe I'm giving you a chance for the 6 months or some, whatever the time period, and then you can make that person realize कि आपके पास ये टाइम है, अपने आप को बेहतर करो, बेहतर कर सकते हो, and then accordingly you take the action. How to criticize a subordinate? Now this comes a very important aspect. Like whatever you are doing, do it in a very dignified and sense of word. Like you know that you are firing or you are giving something some person a very low mark, so you should be having all the idea, you should be having all the, you can see, stats and data about that person, that why I'm doing this. Criticize in private, do and do it constructively. कभी भी public के सामने सब लोगों के सामने बैठ के हम नहीं बताते appraisal. It will be a very one-on-one meeting. It's a very private one. Only that person is with you, and you are telling that person that what exactly needs to be done, how it can be uh, improved. Always try to give feedback that what needs to be done. अगर आपको लगता है कि बहुत पहले फीडबैक देना चाह रहे थे चीज़ पे, हमने पूरा साल वेट किया और फिर दिया, तो it should not be done. If it could be done maybe in after 6 months or after 4 months or after 3 months or after at any time you feel like this needs to be communicated, so you can do it. Don't wait for the whole year and then tell that person, okay, now this is a stage, I'm not promoting you or I'm not giving you the salary or whatever is like. So don't give surprises to the employee. Never say the person is always wrong. Don't use these type of statements. Don't be too much like आप अपनी जो है, be very constructive and be very concise. Don't use these fake statements कि हमेशा ही गलत होते हैं, हमेशा ही गलत बात करते हो, आप हमेशा अच्छा काम नहीं करते. So don't do these biasness. If you need to criticize, that it should be very objective. It should be any without any personal biasness. कोई भी मेरे दिमाग में दिल में जब भी एज सुपरवाइजर आप कुछ बोलना चाह रहे हो वो बिल्कुल नहीं होना चाहिए. It should be particularly related to your work. Lastly, because everything what we are doing right now, it's for the improvement of the performance. You don't need to make the person threaten, or don't need to make that person morale more down, but instead you are there to counsel, to support, and to mentor that person. So you can give the person the opportunity that these are the things that needs to be done. You should be very helpful and constructive. जैसे हमने पहले का फीडबैक में सिर्फ बुराइयां नहीं अच्छाई भी हम मेंशन करते हैं अप्रेजल में. तो talk about the good part, the positive things that person has done or is being doing, so that that person becomes a little bit more उसका मोरल भी अच्छा हो जाएगा, कुछ ना कुछ motivated भी होगा, and then he can listen towards the negative or the bad thing that needs to be clear or that needs to be improved. Lastly, offer the subordinate the necessary support for development and change. Without this, no organization, no employee can grow. and no organization can develop till the time you are not able to manage your employees or give them room to for the change or for the to better their performance. So you being the supervisor, you being from the HR department, it's a role, it's both roles to manage and facilitate. So this is it from the chapter. I hope you understand it, and thank you so much for tuning and staying with this. If you like my videos, so do subscribe, and thank you. Take care.